Here we are.
Yeah.
I'm worried about two things this episode as I reach for my Mountain Dew. We're not sponsored
hmm
by Mountain Dew, but
If they want to sponsor
if they
us,
want
though.
Mountain Dew, we are open. You are energizing me today, but so is coffee. So I had coffee maybe 2 hours ago, and then I ate dinner and I had this with it. So there's a lot of caffeine
Yeah.
going through my system. I'm either going to be super wired all episode, or I'm going to have to get up to pee 7 times, and probably both, to be honest.
I haven't had caffeine since, for about 7 hours now.
Oh, so I thought you were going to say something like
No,
9 years.
5 or 6 hours.
Okay, so how are you feeling?
Actually, pretty good. I just
Good.
ate a couple egg rolls and some cottage cheese, so
Nice, man. Egg rolls and cottage cheese. That's the winning combo.
it's what was in the fridge.
Those both sound good. Don't get me wrong. It's
Yeah.
just so random. I am gonna. We're live streaming now in
Yep.
case the Grammys aren't interesting enough for you.
Aren't the
And
Grammys about done anyways?
talking music. I don't know. Maybe on the East Coast. Um.
Well, they air at the same time, don't they?
Oh yeah,
No.
probably.
Well, yeah, I don't know. They probably
Well,
re-air it for you guys.
I also yeah I don't know. I've lost track of who does what live when.
Right.
I think in the world of social media, most of these award shows have realized like we can't show a pre-delay version on the
Right.
West Coast anymore, and so I don't know what time it started. The only thing I saw is a tweet that said Olivia Rodrigo won something, which doesn't surprise me.
No.
I um I thought that Olivia Rodrigo was going to become my guilty pleasure artist because all of her singles I kind of liked. I'm gonna be honest. She's not my typical like who I want to listen to,
hmm
but I was like, man, this is catchy. This is clever. This is smart. And so I listened to her album. I don't even know the name of it. Thinking, all right, maybe I'm gonna be a fan of Olivia Rodrigo, and it was just I'm a 37-year-old man with a mustache walking down the street listening to a 17, 18-year-old talk about boys. Like that's all
Right.
that her entire album is about breakups and how she was hurt. And I'm not trying to but she's a kid, you know, and I was like,
hmm
okay, I'm glad I took the time to listen to this and I can decidedly say that no, I'm not a big Olivia Rodrigo fan. I'm happy that she's doing what she's doing, but it's not my cup of tea. So,
I honestly couldn't tell you if I've heard any of her stuff or not.
oh, I mean, I
What I
could sing
listen
it.
to and what Emily listened to, there's a little bit of of an overlap, but that's about it. So she's got her playlist, I've got mine, and normally if we're in the car, it's her playlist that's playing.
What does she listen
But
to?
it's like just like the top hits type deal.
Oh, she's a top 40
Uh,
listener. She just
yeah,
likes listening to what's
it's
popular.
just yeah, it's whatever the playlist is in Apple Music.
Oh, got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, the Apple Music One list.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with the Apple Music One list. So, do you listen
Well,
to it when
I
you
don't know if
do?
it's the Apple Music One list, but it's some
But
pop hits
pop
list.
hits on Apple Music or whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah,
gotcha. I
it looks
gotcha.
like Foo Fighters one rock album.
Good for them. Didn't that just drop like
Yeah,
the
I'm not
day
sure
that
when.
Taylor Hawkins died?
I don't know if that's
No,
the
that wouldn't
case or
be.
not.
I think they released one last year and then they released a
Yeah,
new album, which is just insane. And sorry if
yeah.
I look distracted. I'm just posting our live stream, so I'm
No, you're
listening
fine.
from yeah,
No, Medicine at Midnight is the album that
that's
won.
right. Medicine at Midnight, which had some great songs on it actually. I didn't
I'm not sure
realize
I've really listened to it yet.
yeah, since I listen to a lot of radio, I heard a
Yeah,
lot.
you hear a
Heard the
lot more
singles.
stuff than I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Um,
I got home from taking the car back to my parents, and Emily's been watching Sweet Magnolia on Netflix.
I don't think I know that.
I I haven't really watched any of it, but like she just started a new episode. I'm like, I know that song, and it was
Wow.
Nickel Creek, and so I was
I don't think I know
uh
Nickelback.
no Nickel Creek. They're I suppose the correct term is Americana according to Apple Music. It's not bluegrass.
Gotcha.
Uh, it's
Apple
Americana.
Music. If Apple
But
Music says it, then it's true.
yeah, but I mean, you've almost definitely heard the song "When in Rome." It's two guys and a girl. You would recognize it probably,
Okay.
but I mean the song that was being used was called Destinations, and so
Okay.
while I was typing in the quiz, I was listening to Nickel Creek.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah. Joni Mitchell
I-
won Person of the Year.
Person of the year.
Mhm.
That's if I was to win an award for anything, I'd want it to be Person of the Year, unless it was like the Nazis giving out an award. Then I don't think I need to win that one.
Bela Fleck won Bluegrass Album.
I hadn't heard of them.
Bela Fleck is a person who he's got his own side projects and stuff, but he is a fantastic banjo player.
Oh, cool.
And he actually had a band. I think he still has it. It's called Bela Fleck and the Flecktones.
I feel like I've heard of this.
Yeah. And it's a very jazz, like his bass player is Victor Wooten, who is a phenomenal bass player.
Cool.
And then Victor Wooten's brother goes by Future Man, and he does the drums, but he's taken basically a guitar body and added like drum pads and stuff all over it. So he's just playing it using his hands.
Wow. So drum pads on his body, and
Yeah, like on a guitar.
wow.
And so yeah. And then the sax player, I can't think of his name.
Kenny G.
No, I'm
laughing at my own
each person that he's gotten for the band is like a virtuoso in their own right.
Oh, cool.
And it's just like phenomenal at their particular instruments. And if you've never heard of jazz banjo, definitely take a listen to Bela Fleck and the Flecktones.
Okay. Bela
Bela.
Bela Fleck and the Flecktones.
Yeah.
Why does it sound so familiar? Now I gotta use the old Google.
Yeah, you've probably heard of their stuff. There was one album that came out in the early 2000s where they had a Mongolian throat singer on, so they could do that double the double notes singing,
I
like
see.
where he uses the throat as a drone, and then yeah.
Oh, so they are super creative. Yeah, I'm just did an image search. There's a giant banjo, which I assume is just a prop, but would be amazing. Maybe it's a bass.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like an upright bass that's shaped like a banjo. Oh my goodness. And then I see the pad guitar thing. If anyone is listening or watching this, just do yourself a favor and Google Bela Fleck, Bela, Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, just to see, because John, you described it well, but my imagination was like, I don't quite get it. And then right when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, you described that perfectly. I see it now.
Yeah, it's a guitar body with drum pads on it.
Yeah, with drum pads, and like the fretboard has different pads on it. Wow, that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
By the Future Man is who again?
Is the drummer? It's Victor Wooten's brother.
Got it.
Jeff Coffin was the sax player, but not anymore, evidently.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I was just gonna note that Future Man sounds like a Pauly Shore movie, and I would 100% see it. It's like a combination of Encino Man and Biodome. I don't know. It needs to happen, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but Bela Fleck is married to Abigail Washburn, who is also a very good bluegrass player.
John, I'm hoping that one of these happens in the episode, but I feel like we're
John, knowledge bomb.
That wasn't quite a knowledge bomb. I couldn't remember her name, so I had to go look it up.
Well, but I will. Well, okay, that's fair. That's good that you admitted that. But to be fair, like just the amount of knowledge you're dropping about what did you call it? Folk. What did Apple call it?
Americana is what
They call
Apple
it.
refers to it. But,
That's probably a little more marketable than folk or country or bluegrass or whatever else. You know. So yeah.
But no, definitely listen to some of the Flecktones. I mean, and also, I mean, he's also a fantastic bluegrass player, and kind of, I think he's almost doing some like trying to preserve the Appalachian music and stuff like that.
Nice.
So
That's great. I mean, for someone who is not from that region, I am all in favor of that. I think that's something that sounds like a good cause.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up our quizzes. It looks like favorite concerts Kevin and favorite concerts John did the trick.
Yep.
So that's good. Those of you listening to the pre-show or watching the live stream, this week's episode is going to be about John and ours favorite concerts.
Mhm.
And so instead of being like one, well, we'll say this in the intro, but I guess I'll just say it now since I started. We're gonna I'm so curious to see what your questions are like, John, and see how similar ours are. But we're not doing just one band or one concert.
Nope.
Each question is a different concert and a different band, and I won't spoil where mine goes. But I think the reason I'm excited about this is even though our music tastes are kind of the same, it'll at least be kind of broad across like subgenres of what we like.
Right.
So should be cool.
Yeah, I mean, and this isn't a question, but I have actually gotten to see Bela Fleck live for a little bit.
Oh, hey, wow, where at?
At a place in Muncie. It was supposed to be an outside concert, and then weather made it be an inside concert, and so we only stayed for a little bit because it was super hot and humid in an old Masonic temple that doesn't have the best air system, and so we ended up leaving early because of that.
Because you had sweated through 3 shirts already,
Yeah.
or what?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that sounds miserable. Look, live music is amazing, but I sometimes think about like Coachella, one of the biggest concerts, one of the biggest festivals in the world right now, and just on those miserable hot days. Or I've actually never been to Coachella, and I'm born and raised in LA and worked for a rock radio station for many years. I've never been, but seeing the masks on with the wind. My whole point being that, man, yeah, sometimes music can overpower that, but sometimes if the setting is so miserable, temperature-wise, whatever it might be, I don't care how good.
It's not worth
as an old man now, I'm going home. If my feet are cold, I'm going home. Yeah. Okay. So we got some replies. I got some replies on favorite concerts through Instagram and Twitter.
Yep, I saw that.
I figured we can share those on Tidy Up. I made a list somewhere of other Tidy Up things. I don't know that we need to get into all of it. Do you have any Tidy Ups from last week? Last week was with Alyssa, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Alyssa was awesome. That was
she was.
Guest. Got a lot of good feedback. Thank you, Alyssa, if you happen to be hearing this or seeing this. Wow, did I email it to myself? Maybe I emailed it to myself. Yeah, I came prepared today. I took notes on who commented. And I had some tidy ups, but I think some of these tidy ups are just sort of for whenever.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to share a random story that I am finding myself not yet in the middle, but getting close to the middle of being in the drama between 2 older ladies in my neighborhood. One is a dog trainer, and anytime she sees, she's 72. She's told me that several times. She's very nice, but she's also very spunky. So she's like really dominates the conversation. And she's always giving me advice and feedback, and I'm doing my best not to internalize it as I'm a bad dog owner. But there's another woman who scoots around on a little wheelchair. She rides an electric scooter while she walks her labs. Well, while she scoots her labs. And she was offering me a little collar, not a zapping collar, but a vibrating one, because she noticed my dog was barking a lot, and she had me come by and to borrow it, but there was a misunderstanding. I thought she was going to let me use it like long term. She needed it back the next day, and I was like, oh, well, I'm not taking my dog on a walk tonight. So anyways, all that to say that as I was talking to the first woman, the non-scooter one, she was telling me all this stuff about, oh, that woman, her dogs get up and they run around the block all the time because she's on that wheelchair and she can't chase them down. And I watched her dogs for her, and as a thank you gift, she brought me poinsettias. This was around Christmas time, and poinsettias are poisonous to dogs. And she's like, I'm a dog person and I love dogs and I know everything about them. So she knew what she was doing, leaving them on the porch so my dogs could eat them. So I think she was saying this woman was trying to murder her dogs, is what she was implying.
That sounds like to me.
And it's just funny to me because I've now been in this neighborhood, 7 or 8 months, and I've gotten to know people and mostly their good sides, and now I've been around long enough that I'm starting to see, oh, there's drama amongst the older women in this neighborhood. So maybe this will be pre-show talk every week. I'll let you know the update of of the old lady drama. See if any. Well, I don't even want to make jokes about dogs being murdered, but see if any poinsettias have been left out in an attempt to hurt another dog. Yeah. So there you go. I'm kind of buying time looking for my tidy up stuff. That is so funny. I deliberately made notes. Oh well, it'll be for next week. As I talk about a woman who dominates conversations, I'll bring up another topic and dominate this conversation some more, John. Did you see on our Instagram about why you hate toothpaste, about the watermelon toothpaste?
I did see that.
Have you any thoughts there?
I'm not a huge watermelon fan.
I'm not either, but especially candy flavored watermelon. I'm not a big. I like watermelon, but not candy flavored watermelon.
I think I prefer candy flavored over real watermelon. But
Interesting.
yeah, but I'm also one of those weird people that if there is melon and I do feel like eating it, I'll put salt on it.
Oh, you're a weird salt melon person.
It's the contrast. It actually provides more flavor.
I get that. I'm not a big salt fan in general, so I don't. But you know what I have, like tahini powder, which I'm sure has salt in it with some kind of with obviously the spiciness, but with the chili. But yeah, to each their own, John. To each their own. Well, if you do try,
I'm not one that puts black pepper on watermelon like some people do.
Oh, I've never done that. I don't put it. Well, I guess tahini powder would be it for me. Yeah. All right. Well, how are you feeling about jumping into this episode?
I'm feeling good. You?
Feeling good. Yeah, we got our tidy up. We don't know our winner for March Madness yet, right? So we can't do anything.
Actually, I think we could. I was looking at it earlier. I mean, the final game isn't until tomorrow.
Okay.
But I think everyone has gotten all the points that they can get.
Did Brooke win? I'm assuming Brooke probably won.
No.
Or am I wrong on that?
Nope, you're wrong.
I'm wrong? Did you?
Shannon won.
Oh, no way. Oh my gosh. I only say no way because she was like in last going into the second weekend or something. But that makes total sense because there were so many upsets.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had Kansas. She had Kansas in the finals. Yep. Okay.
Yep. And that's what really helped her.
And Kansas
she won by 9 points. Yep.
Wow. Because it doesn't matter what happens because if she chose
like
Gonzaga to win.
Yeah. Everyone's gotten as many points as they're going to get.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should we make an announcement? Just
yeah.
She's winning the first ever T-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That'll be fun. Let me just, while I'm here, I just want to check the family one that I'm in. Brooke's mom won. It looks like it would appear. Yeah, and she chose Kansas as the champion, so she could get even more points. She's already winning, and she could get even more points. So, yeah, and I'm in 7th. Okay.
You're in 7th in both. No, you're 6th in ours.
Okay,
you're 6th
in
ours.
Whew.
Yeah.
Hey, not last place. Catherine is in last. She picked UCLA, which I wanted them to win. I would have loved to see UCLA win. I'm
rooting for Kansas now, just because it's where my sister lives.
Oh, got it. I mean, North Carolina's a lower seed, but I don't think I really care.
Yeah.
So, what can I say? Okay. Well, now that I'm all worn out from getting hyper and crazy on the pre-show, maybe we should start the real show.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. I will. Let's make this media board live. What do you think? When I count down from 3, is it going to work?
We'll see.
I'm also deleting some just because there's too much there. Okay, show is going to start. Counting down from 3, 2. Wait, see, so look, that already doesn't count because I would have had the volume way loud. Now I got to do my countdown again. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I hit it. Why is it not going? It's literally just, okay, let's try it again. I do not know. To be fair, this media board is in beta mode, so I'm not going to knock this. They're still working these kinks out, but by all accounts, and I'm getting a phone call. Hey, you're laughing. Sounds like your laughing works.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it again. There it is. We'll let that go. We win.
John likes tech and lives in Indiana, you know. Kevin likes the Dodgers and talks on the radio. John plays games on Xbox and on his Nintendo, while Kevin runs around LA with his mustachio. It's the Lack of Genius podcast, in your ear holes at last. They don't know they're Mars from Venus, that's why it's the Lack of Genius podcast.
Double caffeinated.
Yeah.
John has not been caffeinated for 7 hours. Am I right on that?
Yeah, but I mean, it was a kickstart that I had, so
Some crazy caffeine going through your blood.
yeah.
So basically, that won't be worn off until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, is what you're saying.
No, it'll probably be worn off before then.
Well, this is the Lack of Genius podcast. If that's what you came for, that's what you found. My name's Kevin, and that's John there. John, you know what I thought is...
What?
Well, part of it is because we had a great guest last week, Alyssa Rocca, opera singer, and got a couple new ears. And I realized every now and then it's probably good for us to just do like a quick recap of who we are, what the show is like.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, John, what if you had to describe this pod when people ask you what is your podcast about? What do you tell them? How do you sum it up?
Everything.
It's about everything.
Yeah. I plain and simple. I mean, we've got different topics each week, that we just quiz each other over. So, it's kind of a podcast about everything. I guess it's kind of the opposite of Seinfeld, where it was a show about nothing. This is a podcast about everything.
I do think that's one of the strengths of our podcast, if I can, is that we never get stuck on one sort of topic. We kind of run the gamut. So obviously it might be times where people aren't interested in the topic and they maybe won't listen, but hopefully they like us enough that they do.
Yeah.
I like to give a little more specific than that, where I say each week my partner John chooses a topic and I choose a topic, and we quiz each other on it in order to prove the lack of genius of the other on that topic, which I will admit is a little bit of a mouthful, but when you say it, it's like, oh, that's why it's called Lack of Genius.
Yeah.
So in case you were wondering, that's why it is. And our topic this week, John, you want to take this one?
Favorite concerts that we've been to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this is actually a little bit different than what we normally do. Normally we kind of have just one topic, like for example, last week it was opera and all questions were about opera. This is where we have chosen actual concerts that we've gone to, and each question is going to be about the band or artist who was at that concert, or maybe it's a concert we're excited about. I'm not sure how exactly. Mine are all concerts I've been to. So I believe we're going to learn at least one fact about 10 different bands today is basically what's going to happen. Potentially, maybe 5 questions from John, 5 questions for me, and a different artist. So, do you know, John, by the way, I don't mean to throw a curveball at you, but do you know what the last live show you've been to is?
I do.
What is it? Was it recently?
I'm not telling you.
Oh, okay. You can't tell me. But, okay. Here's a thing that I realized, John, and if you have this memory, then I don't want to spoil part of the quiz, but you and I think have been to a concert together, right? Do you have this memory? Maybe you weren't there. I'm not sure.
Can you give me the venue?
The Firehouse, I think it was called.
Then
Manchester,
probably
Indiana.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would go to the Firehouse occasionally.
Well, so the reason for the listener that this is kind of bizarre is that John and I live in completely different parts of the country, Indiana and LA. And we only really spent about 3 months of our lives together in North Manchester, Indiana for a semester of college. And it was the band Dressy Bessie at the Firehouse. Does that ring any bells to you?
Vaguely. But, that was, 17 years ago.
I know. I remember it clearly, because my time in Manchester was short, so things are more significant to me. And I also got a really cool poster, that's the B of this, with Dressy Bessie, like some artwork on it. And Dressy Bessie was a band I had heard of prior to them coming to North Manchester. They had a big hit that got big from the movie But I'm a Cheerleader. I don't know if you've seen that. If you haven't, you should. But it was a big deal to me that they were coming to the middle of nowhere in Indiana. And so I just, because you're so tall, John, I have this memory of this tall bearded man being there with us. So.
I probably was. So
yeah. Well, let's just say let's just say we have been to a concert together. And you know what? Maybe that'll be a tidy up for next week, but let's start our tidy up for this week. Okay.
Sounds good.
Tidy up before we go any further with the show. Tidy up before we go fix our mistakes tonight. I wanna get it right. Tidy up.
John, we have our first ever, I guess, prize to give away on this show,
We
right?
do.
Yeah. A Lack of Genius t-shirt, which we,
Mhm.
John and I don't even have a Lack of Genius t-shirt yet. This is the
Not yet.
first ever Lack of Genius t-shirt. And what were we doing, John? Tell us about it.
So we ran a air quotes March Madness bracket tournament.
Month before April Madness
Yes,
bracket.
Yeah. Or the month after February Madness, depending on how you want to do things.
Depending on what hemisphere you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Or, 2 months after January Madness. So we ran a bracket and, just for fun. Kevin, do you want to announce who won?
I gladly will. What's funny is as we're recording this, the tournament is not over yet. The championship is tomorrow as of our recording between Kansas and North Carolina. But in our bracket, nobody picked either of those teams. So everybody has maxed out on their points. And the winner is friend of the podcast, Shannon. Woo! Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm just bad on my timing for the cheering. Here you go. Shannon! Yeah, which is amazing because John and I were talking in the pre-show.
Mhm.
She, I believe, going because there's 3 weekends of March of the month before April Madness, and she was in last place at some point going into one of these weekends. But there were so many upsets that her picks were better than anyone else's. So she is getting our first ever Lack of Genius T-shirt. She is also the mother of the child who provided. Do I still have it? Yes, who provided us with this. Yeah, that is our theme song sung by our littlest logger Felix. So I don't know, maybe she's gonna want a shirt for him instead of for her, or you know what, Shannon, do as you please. Get a shirt for yourself. You're allowed to be selfish if you'd like. It's not selfish. You're allowed to, you're allowed to be selfish if you'd like. And congratulations on winning our bracket.
Yeah, just let us know what size shirt you need, and we'll get that to you.
Yeah, we'll reach out to you and get it all figured out. I also put out a little question this week. Well, the two of us did on the various platforms that we have for social media. Make sure you're following us at Lack of Genius. The handles change here and there, but you're internet savvy. Just type our name into Google and find us. We asked what is the best concert you ever been to, because we're talking about our favorite concert. So I thought I'd see what yours were. We got a lot of responses. Your sister, by the way, did you see that she responded? Dr. Documentary with Gaelic Storm, who I've never heard of. I'm guessing you know Gaelic Storm.
I do, and you've heard their music if you've seen Titanic.
Oh, I have seen. So they're the ones who are singing or playing the instruments as the ship's going down.
Yep. Well, no, they're the band in Third Class.
Yes, got it. That's
the Irish band. Mm-hmm.
They were and the dancing in Titanic. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. The
Irish music. Yep.
Yeah, your sister was saying that they always put on a good show. We got Court Colbert checking in on Instagram saying MXPX. Incubus, Jack Johnson are always great. He couldn't decide between those three. I have seen Incubus. They're one of my favorite bands, and I love they're fantastic live, and they're not in this quiz. Our buddy Grayson said that Bon Jovi literally goes around jumping from rising platform to rising platform, which sort of sounds like Mario jumping from like thing to thing. And then we got at Studio Uteki on Twitter. Also known as the Lord of Darkness, it would appear, but he mentioned Radiohead in Tampa during their In Rainbows tour. This was this person's first chosen concert, the first concert they ever chose to go to, which makes me wonder what concerts he was forced to go to prior. I'm saying he. I actually don't know this person's gender. I apologize, but I don't know what their first concert was. But thanks for checking in with us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel tidied up now that we know what our listeners enjoyed.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel good.
Okay, let's.
I feel like asking you some questions.
Yeah. Okay. So do I. So let's quiz it up. Here we go.
It's time to take a quiz or two. Like a Genius podcast doing this for you. You may fail, but it ain't no lie, baby, it's quiz time. Don't really want this quiz to be tough. I just wanna pass one cause I failed enough. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby, it's quiz time.
Who goes first this week, John? We'll let you determine that. Either you remember or you just choose. We try to alternate every week.
Right, but with Alyssa last week, I believe it is you.
Okay, let's just say it is, and I'm going to ask the first question. So these are our favorite concerts, and what I did is I chose, well, you'll see later why. I chose my 4 favorite concerts ever.
Right.
And we'll get more into that, but basically I will go in reverse order. So in theory, this first one I'm going to give you is my 4th favorite concert ever. And I thought this was appropriate considering recent sad news, not to start on a sad note, but Foo Fighters is what I am going to consider my 4th favorite concert ever. And before I get into this, we know Taylor Hawkins, their drummer, passed away, which was so sad. Is so sad, and we obviously send our love to the Foo Fighters family, to Taylor Hawkins' family. Just a guy who radiated positivity and joy and creativity and fun and humor. And when people like that are taken from this world, it's just it really hits hard, and it clearly did. If you saw anything on social media, which I know a lot of us did. I saw them in 2011 at Weenie Roast, which is local LA station K-Rock's big summer show that I worked at the station at the time. So I would go every year. And this was a rare one that I got to go to. They were the surprise guests at this show, which was awesome. So it was this great lineup that included all kinds of really great bands, including I didn't have my info pulled up, but let's see. Oh, Linkin Park was the headliner, and obviously, sadly, Chester Bennington passed away. The Strokes, Bad Religion, Foster the People, and then Foo Fighters weren't even on the lineup. They have this rotating stage, and Foo Fighters come out and they're playing their guitars. And my memory of this is it was in the best way possible, the loudest I've ever heard just pure instruments make. There was no DJ, there was no backing track. It was just like 3 guitars, a bass, and drums, and it sounded clean. It wasn't like distorted and annoying. It was just like you want to talk about face melting. That was my experience at that show. So there's my description, and here's the question. Before joining the Foo Fighters in 1997, which 90s female singer was Taylor Hawkins the drummer for? Was it A, Sheryl Crow, B, Alanis Morissette, C, Fiona Apple, or D, Leanne Rimes?
So before this past week, I would not have been able to tell you the answer. But because, Taylor Hawkins died, everyone was, putting out obituaries and things about him. And so I learned the answer to this one this past week, and that is Alanis Morissette.
You got it, John. Yep. It was a little bit tough coming up with a question. I definitely wanted to throw this in just to honor him. And probably a lot of you have learned, and maybe you haven't. And if not, I'm glad that you could learn it here. But yeah, he was the drummer on the tour that supported Jagged Little Pill, which I actually don't know when that came out. But yeah, for 2 years, he was the touring drummer. And if you watch the You Ought to Know video, actually, he's in a few videos, but you can see Taylor Hawkins on a drum kit, and just really cool that what a cool band to be a part of. Alanis Morissette, such a fantastic musician, and to know that Taylor Hawkins was part of that, it's like it just tells you it must have been such a cool vibe between all of them. So, all right, John, there you go, 1 for 1 for John, and let's go to number 1 on your favorite concerts quiz.
So mine is more chronological.
Okay.
So what was the first concert of a mainstream musician that I went to? So not like the symphony or something like that, but an actual mainstream, like big tour
recording
musician.
artist. Got it. Okay.
Flogging Molly. Weird Al Yankovic.
Okay.
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Or Nickel Creek.
Wow, John, this is tough. All right, Flogging Molly, Weird Al, Michael Jackson, Nickel Creek. I know you like Flogging Molly. We both have a shared love for Weird Al. I don't think of you as a Michael Jackson fan, but it's possible that you could have gone with like Family as a child or something, or maybe you were do you count being in your mama's tummy?
No,
Okay, good, because some people do. Some people say my first concert was when I was in my mama's tummy. Um,
I mean
and
the theme, the Free Willy though, is a fantastic song.
the Michael Jackson's Free Willy song.
Yeah.
What song is that again?
Oh,
Do
I
you
don't
know?
remember now.
It's not one of his like big hits, I don't think. But yeah, you're right.
I mean,
He
it
is.
was at the time, but
Yeah, but it's not like well. Now we gotta look it up, don't we? Free Willy, Michael Jackson. Will you be there? Okay, yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
not one that gets a lot of play today, is what I mean.
no.
But you're right. Yeah, that was a good moment. And then Nickel Creek is the fourth choice, who we talked about on the
Mhm.
pre-show. It sounds like an amazingly cool.
Mhm.
What did we call it again?
Americana.
Americana band, if you need to put them in a category. Okay, I've gone through the choices enough. Oh God, John, I'm gonna choose Flogging Molly. I'm sticking with it. Let's do it. A two nose.
I only clicked it once. I don't know why I did it twice. But it was Weird Al.
I don't even know if I'm getting so excited about this. I don't think I even knew that you saw Weird Al. Maybe we talked
Yeah,
about
this
it
was
before.
for the Running with Scissors tour,
Oh, my favorite album of his.
right? No, it was at Emmons Auditorium on Ball State's campus. He came. I convinced my parents to take me as a birthday present. And so, yep, I got to see Weird Al. It was a lot of fun.
Weird Al
Yeah.
is probably, when I think about musicians and artists that I love who I
Mhm.
haven't seen, I think he's number one. I've just never managed to see him. I have met Weird Al. I have a picture with him, but I've never seen him perform on an accordion or any other instrument.
Yeah, he's a fantastic musician when you really think about it. Yeah, he makes, silly songs and everything, but he's able to cover every single genre.
Yeah.
And make the covers be good.
Yeah. And not just the music that he creates, but the lyrics and how cleverly, perfectly clever they fit
Mhm.
in. Like it's rare when you hear a Weird Al line where you're like, that's a stretch. You kind of had to force that in. It always seems very like, oh man, it's almost like that's how the song was written. This is
Right.
amazing.
Well, and speaking of covers, did you see my sister's post? I think it was on Instagram or Twitter, where she was talking about how it was somewhat annoying when the real version of the song comes on for our
Yeah.
I think quiz time.
Yeah, that was really nice of her. She said,
Or tidy up.
These are her words, so I'm not patting my own back, but she said, Lack of Genius has a good jingle. When hearing the original version, you're like, this is not the way it goes. She heard she heard Bye Bye Bye, which obviously
Yeah.
we parody in It's Quiz Time. And in fact, John, that's such a good point, because one of the first songs I ever wrote was a parody of a Papa Roach song, Last Resort,
Mhm.
because I loved parodies, and so here I am writing It's Quiz Time and Tidy Up as
Yep.
parodies. I just Weird Al has been extremely influential in my music writing career. So I'm glad.
I mean, and someone else that I put in that category of a fantastic musician is Andrew WK, and I have not seen them.
Oh, Andrew
I would love to.
is a party.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I definitely. That's an artist I need to see live as soon as possible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm 0 for 1. You're 1 for 1, and we'll get into
Mhm.
number 2 on my favorite concerts. Ben Folds. If you're not familiar with Ben Folds, he's a pianist. He was in a band called Ben Folds 5 that had a big hit called Brick in the late 90s, and he's one of my favorite artists of all time. I saw him at the Palace in LA, and it was like my second or third concert ever, and he blew me out of the water. And I'm such a big fan of this guy, Ben Folds. Here's your question, John. Which of the following musical artists directed Ben Folds' video for Rockin' the Suburbs? Was it A, Marilyn Manson, B, Beck, C, Garth Brooks, or D, Weird Al Yankovic? Because he's going to be an answer in all of our questions.
I feel like it's either Beck or Garth Brooks.
Okay.
Like, I don't think Marilyn Manson's really. I know I think he's done his own stuff, but I don't. again, I also haven't watched a lot of music videos in a long time,
Mhm.
so who knows? But Beck definitely seems. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Beck.
Gonna lock in Beck.
Yeah.
That is incorrect, John. This is a Weird Al only podcast. Weird Al Yankovic directed the video, and it was funny because when I thought of Beck as a choice, I was like, oh, I could see Beck doing something like that. So
Right.
I don't blame you for choosing him. But yeah, Weird Al Yankovic not only directed in the song "Rockin' the." Any chance you know that song, John? Just out of curiosity.
Not off the top of my head, no.
It's a song that was inspired by basically the rap metal phase of the late 90s, the Limp Bizkits, the Korns, that kind of thing. Ben Folds has a quote where he's kind of talking about how like why are these kind of like middle class white kids complaining about how hard life is, you know? And he used to go out, he would say he would do this funny like metal falsetto scream thing at his shows where he would say things like "Feel my pain, I am white, feel my pain," you know, basically parroting these bands who are having such
Right.
a hard time, which is ironic because Limp Bizkit was one of my favorite bands in high school, and then I ended
Right.
up loving this. But so in the video "Rockin' the Suburbs," there's a scene where he's wearing a backwards red Yankee cap. There's also a scene that's like the Korn Got the Life video where the bullet is going through the, I don't know if you've seen it, but going through so it's actually pretty cool. And yeah, Weird Al is in there at some point as like producing Ben Folds' album. And by the way, the first line of the song is, "Let me tell y'all what it's like being male, middle class, and white. It's a bitch if you don't believe. Listen up to my new CD." So it's just that was the whole thing. That was the whole point of it.
Right.
And Weird Al had his hands in the video. So there you go.
Okay.
All right, 1 for 2 for you. I'm going to try
Yeah.
to go 1 for 2 in your concerts.
What group have I seen 4 times? Dispatch,
Okay.
Flogging Molly, Jack Johnson, or Tool?
Wow, Tool, by the way, is a band I would love to see live. You and I haven't talked about Tool, and I don't
That's
think
true.
you've seen them 4 times, but I'm assuming because they're a choice here that you're a fan of theirs, and we should talk about Tool because I love Tool. Jack Johnson was brought up earlier by Court. Dispatch, we talked about last week a little bit. I got to choose Flogging Molly, though. That's why I chose them on the first one, because I know you've seen them, and I think we've talked about how you've seen them multiple times. I don't know if I would have come up with 4 on my own, but I'm going to say that applies here. So I'm choosing Flogging Molly. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 times.
I don't know why it's doing 2.
Hey, I'll take it, but just not on the
Yeah.
wrong ones. So
Well, yeah,
go ahead.
I've seen them 4 times. 3 times was while I was in college at Manchester.
Okay. Nice.
2 of the 4 were in Chicago.
Nice.
And then the other 2 were in Indy. So I've seen them at the House of Blues in Chicago.
Cool.
And then that was a school-sponsored trip by the radio station.
WBKE.
That no longer exists.
John and I were both on that radio station in Manchester for a short time.
And then another venue in Chicago, and then Warped Tour in Indy one summer, and then the Egyptian Room, which is the old National Center now, I think what it's called in Indy.
That's in Chicago?
Indy.
Oh, that's in Indy. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So
2 thoughts that come to mind as you were saying that. One is I do believe I've seen Flogging Molly, and I sometimes feel like really spoiled when it comes to live music because, as I alluded to in the Foo Fighters question,
right.
I worked for one of the biggest alternative stations in the world in LA, who would get some of the biggest bands, and many of those shows I would be working the show, so I'd be backstage, which yes is cool, but really I was really busy. I have a lot of good stories from like driving a golf cart. Like I drove James Hetfield of Metallica in a golf cart and Scott Weiland and had just private one-on-one conversations, just like, how is this my life moments?
Right.
But because of that, I end up missing a lot of the band's performances because I'm working the whole time. And I remember Flogging Molly played one of our Weenie Roasts, and at least hearing them from a distance and thinking they sounded great. The second piece of information that I'll say is John and I may be coming to you, maybe not the show itself, but on social media at the very least, from Chicago together. I'm working
Yes.
on booking a trip there. In fact, well, no, I haven't booked anything yet, so it's not technically official, but I'm going there when the Dodgers go and play at Wrigley. I really want to go to Wrigley Field, and John, 3 hours from Chicago?
Yeah,
Give or,
give or take.
gonna come and meet me at the game. We're gonna sit in the bleachers. We're gonna drink some beers, and we're gonna I don't know, yell at some people and have some fun. So that and if Flogging Molly is there, we'll find a way to see them as well. Okay, so that's coming in the near future. We are tied going into question 3, right? We're both 1 for 2.
We are.
So now this is where I would not rank this next question as one of my favorite concerts, but is one of my most memorable because it is my first concert ever, and I wanted to include a question. And it's not that this concert was bad; I've just since gone to better concerts, if you will.
Right.
So, which of the following bands was not one of the bands at Kevin's first concert ever? So 3 of these bands were like touring together, and one of them I just threw in. So which of the following is not one of the bands that was at my first concert? No Doubt, The Offspring, Weezer, 311.
Weezer's kind of the oddball.
Yeah, they're all in the alternative rock world, obviously, especially
Right.
This was in 2002, I believe, summer of 2002, I believe.
But still, Weezer's the oddball. Yes, they're all alternative bands, but I mean, you got West Coast ska, you've got West Coast punk / ska.
The Offspring,
Yeah.
No Doubt, The Offspring.
And 311 is, punk.
Yeah, kind of punk. 311's hard to describe. Alternative,
Yeah.
but like punk. Almost, they sometimes have some reggae sounds. They have a little bit of
Yeah.
rap in there. I get what you're saying. Weezer, kind of a straight up rock band.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't have toured with. And so you said this was 2002.
Yeah. It may have been 2001. Maybe it was either late 2001 or actually. So if you're on the live stream, here I have it right here. I better cover up who played in it. February 26, 2002 at the Long Beach Arena. I'm showing on the stream. It's all my ticket stubs for my first shows ever. In fact, there's Ben Folds that we already talked about. And I don't have one of the Foo Fighters one because that was a separate show. But there are more of these coming up. Oh, there's Ben Folds at the Palace, November 2002. Anyways, yes, this was February 26, 2002, my first concert ever.
So No Doubt was kind of at their peak.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably around when Conspiracy of One for the Offspring came out.
You might be right. Yeah, that was around that time.
Or yeah.
Yeah, no, Americana was like 98 or 99.
Yeah.
And then there was also there was one other one around that. But yeah, you're somewhere in that wheelhouse, yeah.
And Green Album for Weezer.
Yeah.
311. I couldn't tell you on 311. I didn't listen to 311 a whole lot.
Yeah, I only had one of their. I had the one with Come Original on it, which is actually a good album. I like it.
I'm just gonna go with Weezer.
You're gonna say Weezer was not one of the 3 bands, so you're saying I saw No Doubt, The Offspring, and 311 at my first concert ever.
Yeah.
John, you are incorrect. I'm sorry. I know you are right about that. 311 was not at that concert. So it was, in fact, as I'm looking at the ticket stub right now, it looks like it was Weezer and No Doubt have the top names on the ticket stub, and then it was Concert for Artist Rights. So this may have been a one-off concert. I'm not sure exactly what rights they were fighting for, but then it's listed as Offspring and special guest. And I don't remember who the special guest was or if there was a special guest. But yeah, Weezer, No Doubt, and The Offspring. I went with my best friend Danny. It was at the time especially, and maybe still is, a huge No Doubt fan. He was really big into No Doubt then, and I was a little bit more in the Offspring Weezer side. Offspring, right. I think then and probably even now I liked Offspring better, just a little more of the punk. I do like Weezer, and I did have albums by both of them at that time. And I remember, like, in 2002, like, having never been to a concert, I remember seeing, like, images of like Woodstock from '99, and there's just like
Mhm.
mud fights and topless women, and I was like, what am I gonna step into? I thought all concerts were like that, and then come to find out, we were literally all the way at the top, like way far back, not even in the pit, but yeah, there were no topless women, like MTV told me there would be, and I actually felt good
Right.
about that. I was worried it was gonna be like, oh my god, I shouldn't be here. I'm too young. I was 17, but anyways, there you go. First concert ever.
Cool.
All right. Oh, so yeah, you're 1 for 3. So I'm gonna try to take the lead here on number 3 of yours. I'm 1 for 2 right
Yeah.
now.
Well, I mean, according to Weezerpedia, that has the set list for that concert.
Oh, what did they open with? Island of the Sun.
Island and Sun. Yep.
Oh, I called it. I don't even remember that. That was just my guess.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much the Green Album. You got
Did they
Island and the
close with Hash
Sun.
Pipe, probably.
No, Surf Wax America.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Which wasn't on that album. That was their.
Yeah.
That was just their closer.
But Island and the Sun, My Name is Jonas, The Sweater Song, Saying Ain't So, Hash Pipe, Buddy Holly,
Okay.
Surf
Oh yeah.
Wax. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. What a great concert I went to.
Yeah.
I've seen,
Yeah, No Doubt and The Offspring are the supporting acts.
to Weezer. God, interesting. Very interesting. At least according to that. I mean, Weezer is the first name on there. Yeah. How about that? I have seen Weezer a handful of times. God, have I ever seen No Doubt? I'm sure I have.
There were
other than that.
So, looking at the poster for the Concerts for Artists' Rights, there was an evening of concerts to benefit the Recording Artists Coalition. So, there was one night, there were 4 different concerts. At the Forum, you had Eagles, Billy Joel, John Fogerty, Stevie Nicks, and Sheryl Crow.
Wow.
You had Long Beach Arena, which is the one you went to, No Doubt,
Yep.
The Offspring, and Weezer.
Yep.
At Universal Amphitheater, you had what are now called the Chicks, the Dixie
Yeah.
Chicks.
And looking at
Trisha Yearwood, Emmylou Harris, and Dwight Yoakam. And then at the Wiltern, you had Beck, Eddie Vedder, and Mike Ness.
And this was all happening on the same night.
The same night. So you got basically 4 different genres of music happening all in one night, all to benefit the Recording Artists Coalition.
I am very glad I went to support that. I had no idea. I was just excited to be going to a concert for the first time.
Yeah.
This also was back in the day where you had to go to freaking Macy's to buy your ticket. You had to go to the mall and go to the bottom floor of Macy's. And Danny and I went and bought our tickets, and we have a physical ticket stub to prove it. Oh, thanks for looking that up, John. I didn't even know what I was supporting. I feel very good about my choices now.
Gotta Google it.
Yeah, Google turns out Google can do a lot for you.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool, man. Well, let's see your third question about your favorite concerts.
So, which lead singer has made fun of me at 2 different concerts? Dave Grohl,
Okay.
Eddie Vedder,
Uh-huh.
Dave King, or James Hetfield.
Wow, and we've already mentioned James Hetfield. Eddie Vedder came up in the last, as he was one of the artists, I believe, in the concert. Dave Grohl, I don't think I've said by name, but obviously the lead singer of Foo Fighters. And Dave King am I allowed to ask, is that Flogging Molly's lead singer?
It is.
Okay, I thought so. That sounded very familiar. If I was playing the odds, Dave King would be the choice because you've been to more concerts. Well, I think you've been to more concerts by them than anybody else.
Or have
I know. That's what I don't know. That's what I don't know. Have you seen Pearl Jam? You don't answer this, but have you seen Foo Fighters? Have you seen Pearl Jam? Have you seen Metallica? James Hetfield. I love the idea of making fun of you. I'm sure it was with love, but because you're 6'7" and have a beard and just I'm sure you stand out amongst the crowd. I don't know if I want to play it safe. I guess because you're 1 for 3, I can play it safe and still be tied with you. I'm gonna choose Dave King. I'm gonna say that because you've been to at least 4, or you've been to 4 Flogging Molly shows, that the odds are in my favor. So I'm choosing Dave King. All right. Tell me about
it was
this.
Dave King. Being my height and size and willing to not be able to hear anything after a concert for a little bit, I am able to easily work my way up to the front of the group. and so or near the front, anyways, just on the just on the edge of the mosh pit that forms.
I'm just laughing
So-
because I'm picturing you almost like Sasquatch, just like barreling kids out of the way and making your. I know you're not doing that.
Yeah. No,
You
just
could.
kind of gentle, just working my way up. It's
I'm
not
picturing you
hard
with,
for
like,
me to do.
a giant club dragging behind you, like move, move.
I actually at one concert, like they had signed a drum head and threw it out, and
Cool.
I had my fingertip. Like if I was like one person over, I would have had it,
Mm-hmm.
just because of my height. But no,
That's right.
2 different concerts, like a year or 2 apart, and just happened that he singled me out and made a comment, and
You don't remember specifically what it was? You just knew that you just remember
Um,
about your height.
one was about not necessarily my height, but I think the second time it was I needed to shave because I had a much bigger beard then,
I would think he'd be pro giant beard.
right? But
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny. That's funny. Well, now I'm really hoping that Flogging Molly is playing in Chicago when we're there because I'm going to
And,
get on your shoulders.
I mean,
and we're going to get some
yeah,
attention.
I mean, and the different venues I've seen him at, my favorite one was probably the smallest venue, which
Okay.
was not the House of Blues in Chicago, but the other one, because it was just a small venue.
Yeah. I think anytime you see a band in a smaller venue, it's
Yeah,
just-
well, they're, they formed in a pub, in L.A. I mean, they're yes, they can rock, a huge area, and I would, I've seen them at Warped Tour and stuff, and that more intimate, smaller venue is, I think, where they really shine. So
Yeah, and this isn't a knock on them or any band that's like them, but they're a small venue band, and that's not to say that they're destined to
Right.
only play small venues. It's like that's where.
Well,
the
I mean,
energy
now
is
they're playing
best.
huge venues.
they
Like
sell out
they're
big
not.
places.
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing arena shows like Rammstein or Foo Fighters or but they definitely. I mean, they sell out big venues. So
Am I spoiling a question if I ask if you've seen any of the other 3 artists that you listed: Foo Fighters, Pearl Jam, or Metallica?
I have not. I would have loved to go to the Pearl Jam concert at Wrigley after the Cubs won the World Series because that just would have been a fantastic concert. That live album is nice because it actually has there's a song that Eddie Vedder wrote specifically about the Cubs.
Yeah, I remember this. I don't know.
I
what
can't
it's
think of
called,
his
though.
name. It's Let's Play 2 is the song.
A player on the cut, or
Yeah, but I think it's Ernie Banks.
Ernie Banks. Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, it was kind of like a birthday song that he wrote for Ernie Banks, but it's about the Cubs, and so it wasn't actually recorded for Apple Music, but you could like listen to it on YouTube. But that live album has it, so
I see. Yeah, it's called All the Way.
yeah, all the way. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I gotta listen to this song. Yeah, Ernie Banks he played in the 70s, I want to say.
yeah. I mean, and
Cubs.
it was I don't remember all, but it was like a big thing that Ernie Banks was playing.
Uh-huh.
So, but
Oh,
no,
wow,
it's
1953 to 71, which is such
Yeah.
a long career, was when I was off by a couple decades. But yeah, one of the best all-time Cubs and all-time baseball players, Ernie Banks. Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Cub is his nickname.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and
Wow.
it's a fantastic song. It's like one of the lyrics is, we're not fair weather fans, but foul weather.
Oh, foul weather. Nice.
Yeah. But
Oh, I'm excited to go to Wrigley
I'll
with you.
definitely be listening to that on the way up to Wrigley.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to as well. Oh man, John and Kevin do Wrigley Field. I cannot wait. Coming to you in about a month from now. All right, John. Yeah, that's gonna,
almost exactly.
almost exactly a month. Yeah, it'll be the first weekend of May. I don't know how we're gonna record, how or when we're gonna do our podcast that weekend, but we'll figure it out. Don't you worry. Okay. Let's check out number 4, which maybe I have a feeling this is probably a band you were expecting to see on my quiz. This is what I have listed as my second favorite concert of all time, and it's the Aquabats. If you don't know the Aquabats, they're a ska band formed here in Southern California, and they are a little more dancey electro now. They are still creating music. They also have gotten into creating children's music. And when I mentioned Weird Al being such a huge influence on my own musical writing style, the only other artist that's probably that is definitely higher on the list than Weird Al is the Aquabats. Their songwriting style is funny, hilarious, creative, kind of creating these different worlds and characters, and their live shows are just incredible. And I don't know how many times I've seen them. I should look on my ticket stub here. There's at least like 4 on here. But the first time I ever saw them, it was my second concert ever, I believe. At the El Rey, July 31st, 2002. And this is what this question has to do with. At that show in 2002, Kevin's first ever Aquabat show, what did the band send into the audience to compete in a crowd surfing race? And so, just for clarification, on one side of the crowd, they sent these items in, and they had the right side of the crowd versus the left side of the crowd. You had to crowd surf this thing to the back and then back to the front, and whoever got to the front first won. So, what did they send out to race in this crowd surfing race? Was it members of the band, inflatable pool toys with kids on them, giant stuffed Chewbaccas, or giant inflatable hamster balls with mannequins in them?
So is this before or after Travis Barker was in the band?
This was after Travis Barker was in the band. Travis Barker he wasn't an original member, but he was on their biggest album, Fury of the Aquabats. And in fact, the last time I saw the Aquabats was through 2 or 3 years ago when they did the 20th anniversary of that album, and Travis Barker came out in full Aquabats attire and drummed. And they did 2 shows, and I got to see him perform. It was very cool, very nostalgic. But this did not include Travis Barker at this show.
I'm gonna guess the giant inflatable hamster balls with mannequins in them.
Again, your choices were members of the band, inflatable pool toys with kids on them, giant stuffed Chewbaccas, and you were choosing giant inflatable hamster balls with mannequins in them. John, that is incorrect, but very close. Inflatable pool toys with kids on them. So they at one point during the show, I forget how they worded it. I think they said, "We need the littlest aqua cadets in the audience. We need the littlest Aquabats in the audience." And especially nowadays, because the Aquabats literally have a kid show. When I went to the show 2 or 3 years ago, it was like there were like
kids.
Yeah, it was like half literally little kids, because it was people about my age who were Aquabats fans, but now their kids were too. So it was like literally little kids there. There wasn't as many in these days, but they got the 2 littlest kids. I know it was an inflatable alligator, and I think the other one might have been a flamingo. I don't think they were the same ones. They put the kid on them, and they send him back, and then they send him up to the front, and it's just, I don't think they could do that today. I don't think they
Probably
would
not
do that today, but in 2002, especially before everything went on the internet, because now if a kid falls off and breaks his neck, that's going everywhere, going viral. I believe I was on the left side of the crowd, and I believe our side lost. One other crowd surfing story that happened at an Aquabat show, when I was, I saw them a bunch of times when I was 17, 18, 19. I think I was 19, and it was like, I had done crowd surfing at their shows. Like it's fun. It's scary, but it's fun. But it's always gone well for me. The last time I ever crowd surfed, I think I was 19, and it's because I got dropped from straight up. Like, sometimes it feels like when you're crowd surfing, if you've never done it before, it feels like you're going to get dropped, but then out of nowhere, a hand comes and lifts you up, and you just keep going. It's incredible. And so I was just convinced that I was going to get caught, but I did not get caught. I landed right on my, basically my tailbone. And I had, I'm sure I had some kind of nerve damage, because I was, limping for weeks. But, no regrets. It was... I did not crowd surf again after that, but I went to many an Aquabat show and still had a blast after that.
Good.
All right, John. Sorry to say you're 1 for 4, man. I'm 2 for... Am I 2 for 4? Oh, I'm 2 for 3.
2 for 3, yeah.
2 for 3. So let's see how I do on number 4 here.
So what was the first band that my wife and I saw together?
Okay.
Blue Man Group, Straight No Chaser, Dispatch, or the Avett Brothers?
Okay, I love that Blue Man Group is a choice. I don't know Straight No Chaser. which almost makes me want to choose them. Dispatch is kind of a how do you describe them? A reggae sort of acousticy folk band.
Yeah.
Am I close? I remember listening to Dispatch. I just don't know quite how to describe them. And
I'd say more like rock jam band with a
Okay.
little bit of reggae
okay,
feel.
Avett Brothers. I don't know if you know this, John. One of my favorite bands. I've seen them once before for sure. I don't think twice. This was like not at a K Rock show. This was I went to. Oh man, there's a great documentary about the Avett Brothers.
Hmm.
Forget what it's called, but if you don't know the Avett Brothers, folk band, kind of Americana, but more folky, just a fantastic modern day folk band that I highly recommend. Did you and your wife see them together for, is that the first band that you and your wife saw together though? Wow. I think because I don't know them, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's Straight No Chaser. I'm going to choose that. Oh, what is it?
So while Em and I have seen Straight No Chaser and Blue Man Group, it
Okay.
is the Avett Brothers.
It is the Avett Brothers. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
we got to talk about the Avett Brothers then.
Yeah, it was 2018 when they were touring with Government Mule, and Government Mule was doing their Dark Side of the Moon
Oh,
cover.
cool.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty cool concert. You know, the Avett Brothers played, and then like half the audience left because they were only there for the Avett Brothers when
Oh,
Government Mule was like the next act.
Headliner.
And so yeah, I don't know if I would say they were co-headliners.
okay.
But then yeah, so then actually the brothers came out and actually played with Government Mule for, I think it was Time.
Cool.
Yeah, and so that was actually pretty cool. We ended up leaving a little bit early just because it was getting pretty chilly, and it was an
Mhm.
outdoor at Deer Creek, or Klipsch Music Center now, I think it's what it's called.
Is that
They
in?
go through
That's
so
in
many
Indy?
names.
Did you say this?
Yeah,
was
it's
in
just out.
Indy?
Yeah, it's a suburb of Indy.
Okay.
But yeah,
Wow.
it's our big outdoor music venue.
Got it. Wow. You know what, John? I'm trying to think if, in terms of overlap of bands that we've both seen, is Avett Brothers the first one, or have we already gone? Have we already discovered some? Has
That
anyone
might
else
be.
jumped? I think Avett Brothers might. Oh, Flogging Molly. I said I have seen. But cool. I guess I should figure that you like Avett Brothers because I kind of
Mhm.
know your style of music. We've never talked about it. So how about
Yeah.
that? All right. Well, in terms of this quiz, that puts me at 2 for 4. You were 1 for 4 going into the last
Mhm.
question here. So you got to get this right to at least get a tie. Now, I feel like, you tell me, but I feel like this might be a surprising choice for my favorite concert of all time. Maybe not surprising that I like this band, but Rage Against the Machine, the best live band I've ever seen. You want to talk about, 3 dudes with instruments and 1 vocalist just making not only an incredible amount of noise, but an incredible amount of like good sounding, clear,
Right.
well performed noise. I saw them let me make sure. Yeah, I saw them in 2011 as part of what was called LA Rising, which was a festival that Rage Against the Machine put on. It included the bands Muse and Rise Against and Lauryn Hill. By the way, Muse did not get a question in here, but the second best live band I've ever seen in terms of performance, Muse. Again, 3 dudes just making an incredible amount of sound that sounds so good. I'll get more into Rage Against the Machine in that specific show, but this is a true or false question, so you got a 50-50 shot. True or false, Rage Against the Machine has consisted of the same 4 members and only these same 4 members for the entirety of its existence. True or false?
While I think about that, I've been on the stage with Rise Against.
Oh, I love Rise Against. Did you see them in Chicago by chance? Because they're a Chicago
No.
band. Okay.
No, it was at Warped Tour. And I'd found a way to get into Warped Tour free by volunteering to pick up recycling and stuff during
That's
the
right.
tour.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, and so one of the times you were able to go on stage and whatnot. To be honest, I hadn't heard of Rise Against, but
Got it.
it was I just picked one.
Well, Rise
Uh,
Against, just in terms of this question, 2011, I still like Rise Against, but I was super into Rise Against. I was
Yeah.
super into Muse, and Rage hadn't played in a long time. In fact, this was their only show of 2011, so it was a big deal. And I was like, I have to be at this show. And I'm so
Right.
glad this is at the LA Coliseum. I took my brother. I actually got tickets for free through work, which was awesome. It made it even better. 100,000 people there, which obviously added to the environment and why it was my favorite concert ever. But true or false? 4 members, entirety of their existence, same 4. Is that true? Is that false?
I'm I'm a huge fan of Rage as well,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to, and I know I've watched videos on them and stuff, and I'm trying to. I want to say it's true, but I know like they broke up for a while, but then they've gone back. They came back together, and you also had Prophets of Rage,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah. No, it's not.
I'm just gonna go with true.
Saying it's true. Same 4 members of Rage Against the Machine for their entirety.
Yep.
John, that is correct. I wanted to include this question because I realized how rare that is for a band that formed in
That's
the
true.
late 90s, or I mean, early,
Right.
maybe late 80s. I'm not exactly
Yeah.
sure. Tom Morello on guitars, Tim Comerford on bass, Brad Wilk. Did I get that right? Brad Wilk on drums, Zach De La Roca as the vocalist. And the same 4 members. You're right. They have broken up many times. I'm sorry. Brad Wilk is the drummer. I knew I got that wrong.
Yeah.
Brad Wilk is the drummer. Tim Comerford is the bassist. And yeah, they've broken up. They've gone on hiatuses. The 3 musicians of the band, Tom Morello, Tim Comerford, and Brad Wilk, got together with Chris Cornell of Soundgarden and formed Audioslave, which has an incredible album and amazing music.
Did they have 2 albums?
I do believe they have 2. Yeah, you're right, they do. And Zach De La Roca, I want to say that better, has had several side projects. One Day as a Lion is coming to mind. He's done work with Run the Jewels, and in fact, the band Rage Against the Machine is going on tour with Run the Jewels this year. I highly recommend seeing them because I don't know how much longer they're going to continue to put music out. They're very what's the word? Just juxtapositional band. I can't think of the right word I want to use because they are very anti-commercialism and kind of anti the man and fighting the system. Yet they're a mainstream rock band, playing large venues, and so some people have issues with that. To me, I just think if their message can reach more people, then so be it. But I do know that some of their hiatus was as a result of those complications. But yeah, 2011 only show they played was at the Coliseum for LA Rising, and the 2 best moments of that show, if you know their music, if you know the song Guerrilla Radio, there's a huge like guitar solo part that comes up and then it gets completely silent. And Zach De La Roca says, "It has to start somewhere. It has to start sometime. What better place than here? What better time than now?" And then the guitars just explode. And at the concert, 100,000 people in the Coliseum just silent and whispering together, "It has to start somewhere." And you're just getting hyped. And then it breaks into, "Oh, hell, can't stop us now." And the entire place was chanting that. And it was just an energy that I've never felt at any other concert. And then on top of that, I think that was my favorite moment of the concert. But then Killing in the Name of literally ends with them saying, "F you, I won't do what you tell me," over and over again. The entire Coliseum was chanting, "F you, I won't do what you tell me." And they obviously weren't saying F, and I was not saying F either. I will be completely honest about that. And it just felt like we were all having this chance to get it. It's funny how I mentioned, middle class white American. Like, I'm this white dude saying, "Yeah, F you, I won't do what you tell me," But it did feel good. I think no matter what part of walk of life you come from, there's something that we all have this sort of like fire. Yeah, it was so cathartic. And that's how the concert ended. And the lights turned on and all of us are looking at each other just sweating like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" So you can hear this was 11 years ago and I'm still just so moved by those moments in that concert. So thank you for indulging me and listening to me go on about that.
No, I mean, I would love to go see Rage You know,
Yeah.
not I haven't really listened to Run the Jewels a whole lot. Not a huge rap fan, but
They
I
do
know
it
they're not
well.
necessarily. Yeah, I know they do it well. I mean, I know they're really good. I got friends that are huge fans of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a thing called money. So if you would like to be a patron of this podcast, you can join us at patreon.com/lack of genius.
You're allowed to make a donation that literally says this only goes to John seeing Rage Against the Machine because you want him to have that experience. You're allowed to do that. We're not stopping you.
But no, I mean, I'm a huge Tom Morello fan in general. Just
Yeah.
from, I mean, one, his music is fantastic. I mean, his side project, The Night Watchman, is fantastic.
Yep.
Um,
Acoustic,
go-
acoustic,
yeah.
like folky.
The newest album isn't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He went back to electric for it, but
Cool. Cool.
yeah, no, let's face it, Rage Against the Machine is a political band.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's in their name,
Yeah.
you know. And I always find it funny when people try to pick fights with Tom Morello, and he's like, "Yeah, I've got a degree in political science, like not just a degree, like it's a, like high end, like I think Harvard degree even."
Yeah, he's a Harvard guy. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, he knows what he's talking about when he says stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one thing I'll say is I get upset when people throw Rage Against the Machine into the sort of rap metal category of the late 90s when they throw
Yeah,
them
they're
in with
not.
Limp Bizkit. Yeah, because I get that the sound, and it's funny because, one of the bands that Ben Folds was calling out was Rage, and I forgot to mention that the Aquabats also have a great song that if you hear no other song by them, look up I Fell Asleep on My Arm. It's called I Fell Asleep on My Arm, and it's literally a parody of Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit, Korn, and Rage Against the Machine, and it's very funny. They don't call any of those bands out, just stylistically it's very funny.
Right.
But Rage is so different than any of those bands. Their
Yeah.
lyrics are not that sort of, oh, poor me, and why is everything so
No.
hard? Their songs are very meaningful, and yeah, I don't like when I hear people throw them into that category.
Yeah, they're not self-deprecating. They're actually trying to make change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The video for Bulls on Parade, by the way, directed by Michael Moore, and is literally them doing what's the word? They had no permission to be there on Wall Street, performing in front of Wall Street. And I want to say, I don't think the band got arrested at all. Michael Moore, I think maybe did, because they didn't have a permit to shoot there. And they literally had to, at one point, the band tried to go into Wall Street, and the crowd followed them, and Wall Street literally brought down its like riot emergency like metal doors. And so one of the quotes that Michael Moore has is that they closed down Wall Street as a result of this stunt. And so he's like, Rage Against the Machine literally shut down American consumers or capitalism for one day, And I was like, yeah, okay, can't really argue against that.
No.
So anyways, just a fun story. But
Yeah, I mean, and I think one of my favorite quotes from Tom Morello is like I was watching an interview when he was doing The Night Watchman, and they were like, "Why'd you go acoustic?" And he was like, "I realized I could say just as much without a full stack of Marshalls behind me than, And I think he then talked about Woody Guthrie.
oh yeah,
kind
making change through music with
yeah.
just
Yeah,
a
I mean,
guitar in your voice, right?
Yeah, I mean, and if you've never heard of Woody Guthrie, you've heard his songs, even if you don't know who he is. This land is our land. He is your quintessential folk musician.
Yeah, and political in that sense. Like,
oh, yeah.
Just
Like,
yeah.
He was anti-fascist. I mean, and I think Tom Morello even has a sticker on it saying "This machine kills fascists," or something to that effect. So.
Yeah, well, I think that's why I like Rage Against the Machine so much, and Tom Morello, as you mentioned, because they are so layered. Not only do they make good music, music that's amazing to listen to and lyrically meaningful and poignant, but Tom Morello makes sounds out of a guitar that no other human being can, and that I've never heard a guitar make, and it's something really worth taking in. All right, John. Wow, I'm so glad we talked about Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be playing in Chicago too when I'm there with you. All right, so you ended up 2 for 5. I am 2 for 4 going into number 5. Let's see if I win or if we tie.
So this is I have not been to concert yet.
Okay.
But I will be going to concert. What is the next concert that I have purchased tickets for?
Okay.
Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats.
So good. He's so good.
hmm
They are
Fish.
good. Fish. Okay, with a PH.
Yep. Dispatch
Dispatch has come up a few times.
or Willie Nelson.
Wow, Willie Nelson, man. If it's, I'm not gonna choose Willie Nelson, but if it is, bravo. God, I feel like I have a vague a vague recollection of you mentioning one of these bands, and I don't know if you were saying it in the context of I'm going to be seeing them, but that makes me want to choose Fish with a PH because I think you mentioned them about something. Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. If you haven't heard of them, if you haven't heard of Nathaniel Rateliff, oh, so good, man! It's such a
Mhm.
good combo of rock, folk, Americana, just.
I
Kind of-
truly feel if there is a third Blues Brothers movie, they have to be in it.
just because of their music, because of the way
Yeah.
they sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's honestly kind of hard to put their music into a category. I mean, that's it's definitely got that Americana, folksy, bluesy vibe, but
Mhm.
it's like you've never heard it before.
Well, I mean, their music video for SOB.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
where they're in the jail. I mean, that just straight up looks like Blues Brothers.
yeah, and that song is super catchy. If you don't know it, it's just
Oh, yeah.
like son of a bitch, right? Son of a bitch. Yeah. Anyways, we need to get you singing that. I'm trying to get you to sing, not me. Okay. I'm gonna choose Fish. Let's see what happens. I'm locking in.
Well,
Fish.
and I'll let you know, I have the ability to see all four of these this summer.
You do have the potential, but you do have
Yes.
tickets for. You're saying which one have I purchased tickets for?
Exactly.
Gosh, if only we had booked something for a show in Chicago, and then I'd be like, I know the answer to this. I'm gonna stick with Fish. Your clarification may have stated that you might be able to see them, but I'm gonna choose them. Let's stick with it. Ah, dang it!
It is
Tied.
Dispatch.
It is Dispatch. Okay, because I remember you mentioning them, which
Yeah.
obviously they came up in a few questions also earlier. All right, where are you gonna see Dispatch at?
In Indy, there's a state park near downtown Indy on the White River that has an amphitheater that is fairly new that
Cool.
replaced the old one. It's going to be Dispatch, OAR, and G Love and Special Sauce.
That's right.
Um,
You mentioned this. I should have remembered. OAR is a great band also.
Yeah.
G Love as well. Yes, these are great,
Yeah.
great bands. Great.
I've been wanting to go see Dispatch for quite a while now, and it's not the original band, which is okay. You know, I think Pete Francis left, but I have seen him live in Muncie when he was by himself. So this will allow me to see it. I've seen all of them in live at some point. But no, Willie Nelson's got his Outlaw tour.
Okay, so you could see him.
And you're right. Well, and Nathaniel Rateliff is playing on the Outlaw tour when they're in Indy.
Oh, he's
the
so he's
Avett brother-
playing with Willie Nelson.
Well,
They are?
it's a part of the tour.
Oh, great.
Um,
That's awesome.
I mean, another venues, Avett Brothers are part of the tour.
Nice.
I was like, I can't get. If it was like all three, Willie Nelson, Avett Brothers, and Nathaniel Rateliff, then
you'd have to go.
Then,
Yeah.
And like lawn tickets are like $25.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
that's definitely worth the price of admission.
Right. I mean, and then Fish, is playing early summer for like 3 nights in a row,
Cool.
which would be fun to go see, but
It's not on your
money.
agenda. Yes, exactly. Well, maybe you'll get a patron, a sponsor just for your musical
Maybe.
desires. Well, great job. We ended up tying. I will
did.
throw in an honorable mention to you had James Hetfield listed. Surprise! I almost threw in a question about seeing Metallica because I saw them as part of the Big Four. So I've never been to Coachella, but I have been to the Polo Grounds where Coachella is held to see the Big Four, which is, oh my God, I'm going to be put on the spot here. Anthrax, Megadeth, Metallica, and who am I missing? Slayer. So I'm not the biggest heavy metal guy. My
Right.
brother bought tickets, wasn't able to go, gave me his tickets. My cousin also had tickets, so I went with them. And Metallica I've seen twice at a Weenie Roast, the time that I drove James Hetfield, and at the Big Four. And I like Metallica. I know, at least their singles and maybe one of their albums.
right.
But live, much like I said with Rage Against the Machine, just like, whoa, this is why they're so good. Okay, now I understand. And yeah, some of the best live music I've seen was provided by Metallica. Just amazing. So that's my honorable mention. Just wanted to throw that in. And yeah, fun to talk about music, John. Feels like, I mean,
It
yes,
is.
we did an opera episode last week, which is music, but we hadn't done a music sort of musical band,
Right.
Touring bands episode in a while. So it feels good to do that. And man, I could talk
Should we put a
music all
playlist
day.
together?
Yeah, we're gonna put a playlist together. Unless we don't, in which case I'll edit this out. But yeah, assuming we did this, we should have one on Apple Music and I believe on Spotify, even though I don't have a Spotify subscription anymore. But yeah, let's do a playlist that includes our favorite songs by these bands that we've outlined. Good
Sounds
idea,
good.
John. All right, dude. Well, let's go get working on that playlist and we'll catch y'all next week.
Sounds good.
See ya.